Yeah.
which, I mean, there are premiums. Then maybe that's something to get into because you're an artist. Do you do you charge a premium for any of your artistic like talents or any of your like artistic pursuits, signed albums or anything like that?
I don't for me, it's always real logistical, so the only thing I have that's comparable to that is, like, selling a beat or an instrumental. There's
Okay.
different licensing tiers, so, like, the
Hmm.
lowest tier is, like, I think the way we do it is off of number of like, streams or listens. So the max tier is, like, $100, and that gets you full access. You can, go become a Universal Studios billionaire with it,
Yep.
basically.
Katy Perry
Um
took your beat.
yeah, and she was accused of that. Not mine, not my beat. She was accused of, taking the beat from this, like, Christian rapper, and he took her to court over it.
Actually,
It was Dark Horse. You should look it up. It's a very interesting story.
that's interesting. I would 100% have to look it up, and maybe I wonder if so when anything like that happens, I wonder if subconsciously in my past I have read that or seen that, and that's why Katy Perry popped into my mind when I was thinking about it.
Yeah, it
Like
is
the human mind
uncanny.
is crazy. But anyways, so you don't have anything like special where you're doing anything signed. But I personally, I like collecting those types of things.
Mhm.
I mention it because in my morning meeting today with the team, I was talking about how there's an artist at this Ren Fair that I've gone back to 3 times now. So I've done Ren Fair a couple of years in a row. I really like it. One of the first years that I went to the Ren Fair when I was back here in Michigan, I met this artist, really liked her stuff, bought a piece. Second year, went back. She was in the same location. I bought 2 or 3 pieces. Third year, I went back and I bought an original, a one of a kind original. It's real basic,
Mhm.
but it's like a picture of a black cat, kind of reminds me of Freya, and it's really hard for me to not be like, oh yeah, I'll pay that. And I paid a
Mhm.
huge premium for it. It was like $50 for kind of a line work cat, very
Mhm.
easily done, but it holds special meaning to me because I've gone back to this artist. I know this artist. I've kind of collected her work. And
Yeah.
so I like that kind of exclusivity that I get. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious if that's like a universal feeling or if that's something that not a lot of people get.
I mean, for me, my example of that is probably when I would back, like, Kickstarter games, I would always
Mhm.
get the premium ones, especially for things
Yeah,
that
yeah.
were same deal, culturally significant. So, like, the
Mhm,
Power Rangers one, I got max tier.
mhm.
Not and I never even opened it. I don't even know how the game works, Cody. I just know that it's super cool miniatures and it's all Power Rangers, and I love that. And, it's
To
the
be
same with,
fair, if
like,
it brings you joy, it brings you joy.
it brings you joy, yeah. It's the same with Binding of Isaac. I got the premium for that one, and that one came with, like, a hat and a shirt and stuffies, and I absolutely have those all around the house, and I wear them and stuff because Binding of Isaac was, like, this core game that, like, I played a ton and really liked, and I kinda know the culture around it, so, yeah, it's cool
Yeah.
to feel connected to those. And when people see it and they're like, "Oh, it's Binding of Isaac," it's like, so when you know that, you know so many other things, you know what I mean? It's like, we can
Yeah.
talk about this now, you know?
It's called community. I felt the same way whenever
Yeah.
I would wear, like, Cloud9 jerseys around, and I'd get
Mm.
recognized, I'd be like, "Oh, Cloud9, I love it," and I'd be like, "Ah, Sneaky," and they'd be like, "Ah, yeah, Meteos," and we'd have a couple of different jokes that mean absolutely nothing to anyone unless you were a fan of League of Legends and you were a fan of Cloud9,
Yeah.
and I love those little in groups that you can kinda get. I'm
Yeah,
here for
yeah.
that. But with that said, I wanted to intro Eric. Eric's been here a few times. He makes music. He does a lot of different things, a lot of different marketing, development, just a lot of experience out there. And I wanted to bring you on specifically because one, Jordan's sick, so everyone keep him in your thoughts. I was gonna say prayers, but we don't really pray around here too much. If you do, go
Prayers are
ahead.
prayers are a blanket covered by thoughts. A prayer is a
Yeah.
type of thought.
But then people say thoughts and prayers. That implies prayers are separate from thoughts, right?
I think they're a specific type of thought. It's like cars and
Ooh.
trucks.
Cars and trucks, both vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thoughts and prayers are
Is a
both
truck a type of car? Or is it a truck?
yes.
Specifically a truck? Is a hot dog a
Well,
sandwich? Carry on. We should move on from this.
I don't know if we should move on from this. This is the philosophy that I'm here for. But I wanted to bring you on because we're talking about reviews, and I think reviews are hugely important. One, if you're a small business, if you are doing any type of online work, your reputation, how people perceive you online, is extremely important. As part of Good Rep Media, which let me get my little pitch here out of the way. We're part of Good Rep Media. I am part of Good Rep Media. We are a small business marketing agency. We help small businesses get ranked on Google. We help you get customers in your door, and we help you get reviews, which are extremely important. If that's something
Mhm.
that you need, if you need more reviews, if you need more customers, if you need more leads in your funnel, we can help you with that. And we do that on our website. Go check us out.
And they're really good at it,
With
actually.
yeah, we have some success, and I want to get into it because one of our companies has had some fun review stuff going on. But with reviews, what was your first experience with reviews? Because you started a couple of different businesses, you have a couple of different platforms that you're on. What was your first like? Okay, I got a negative review. I got a good interaction. Like, what was your first like memory of reviews?
My first memory of a review was my first freelance job was
Mhm.
on not even Upwork, it was Odesk at the time, and a real early freelancing platform,
Yeah.
which became Upwork. And, $5, I wrote a song for this guy for, like, a video game. The scope was really, ambiguous. Gave him something, sent it in, and he paid me the $5 and he gave me a 3.6 out of 5. And I was like and he was just, like, kinda done, and it was just sorta done, and I was like, "Uh, this is fine, but, like, I just feel like, why?" And I was like, "Do you want any updates?" And he just sort of ghosted me, and that was the end of it, and I just don't really understand what happened. But it sucked because I was like, I for $5, man, come on, help me out.
For $5 you did this thing. But so immediately, and I think this is universal, the why on reviews,
Yeah.
I don't think I've met a single person who hasn't like, "Yeah, I get a whole bunch of reviews," and the ones that they always bring up are the whys. Like, "I got this
Mhm,
review. It was, 5 stars," and then they proceeded to complain about the entire visit. Why?
mhm.
What in the world was going on here? Or, we for Cape Coral Lawn Care, we had a 1-star review and we did their lawn. Everything was perfect. We've never had any feedback. We never had any back and forth. We reach out to them and we're like, why? Because that's the number one thing. When you have those whys, I'm assuming you reached out to them immediately and we're like, hey, why'd you give me a 3.6? Right?
I did,
Yeah.
I did.
And getting ghosted sucks. We got a response in this instance, and they were like, "Hey, so uh, one of our employees flat out skipped the lawn and said that they had done it, and basically were just lying because they didn't want to do it. And then they changed their story and they said it was too difficult. And
Ooh,
so, yeah, it was
that's
like
messy.
actually a really bad employee situation
Yeah.
running a truck, and so we had to deal with that. That was last week, actually. But, we had to end up letting that employee go because they just kinda skipped this guy. But the good thing on that story, we reached back out to him and we're like, "Hey, we'll come out and fix it." Fixed it the next day. They updated their review. So, takeaway,
Yeah.
when you reach out, if they do respond, make it right and you can fix it.
Yeah.
But
And Maddie had so my wife, who's a
yeah.
massage therapist, she had a client who, came in, got a massage, great experience. They left, suddenly 1-star review or 2 it was very low,
Mhm,
and it was like, a bunch of really strange complaints that nothing was communicated to her in person. And
mhm,
massage is like person therapist. You're right there. There's no, it's not like what you described where you can like skip the lawn and no one knows. I'm right here.
yeah,
And just kind of carried out on her. And it, was a significant impact to her overall rating. What happened was because it was the most negative review, it gets highlighted and it affects the aggregated result and you can drop position and we were first place for our region for on all these different websites and things and it affected that so we wound up reaching out to the lady being like hey sorry that you didn't have a good experience for all these whatever reasons you came up with would you like a freebie and gave her a free massage she updated to a 5 there's so much power in it, and I don't
it
know
really
if
is.
people really realize because if I leave a negative review, it's gonna be like I got an awful experience, and I use it and I think we should talk about how you properly um, what's the word I'm looking
Utilize?
for? Like, morally. Like
Aha,
like,
yeah.
what's the moral you like, how do you actually use these effectively as a consumer? Like, ethical, that's the word
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Ethical reviewing practices. If you have an experience that's very bad and you can tell management doesn't know about it, leave a one-star review and explain what happened. Don't just complain, don't talk about your feelings, talk about helpful stuff, help
Mhm.
them. Be like, "Here is the actual problems." I do this in, the Google Play Store with apps. If I
Yeah.
use an app, especially, like, big apps, like, I use ClickUp, that's my, project management system of choice.
Mhm.
That app had a period where it was really buggy. I did put a one-star review and was like, "These are major issues, they're app-breaking issues, and I just want them fixed, and I wanna make sure you guys see this." And I think that is, kind of a reasonable way to do it, and you know what? They replied to the message about a month later and said, "We fixed the things in this," and I updated my review. I mean, there's, like, this sort of communicative social transaction that can occur if you're open to participating in the cycle of productivity that will actually help these people figure these things out.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that you have to want to be productive with it.
Yeah.
I feel like at a top level, it should be addressed. If you are a business, your reviews are probably one of the most important things to your online business. If you're a massage therapist, if you're a lawn care company, if you are doing insurance, if you're a lawyer, if you are hell doctors, if you're anything these days, you're online and you have an X out of 5 or an X out of 10 rating on some site, and that rating matters.
Mhm.
It's your reputation. Um, and that can suck. We can get into the philosophy of whether or not social currencies and all that are great. It's a really fun conversation to have, but realistically, that's how it works. And so when we get into this, the ethics of reviewing, understanding that as a consumer, if you review a small business with a 1 star and they have 19 reviews, it's going to hit them. And it
Yeah.
is a big hit too. So that review that you leave on Google gets shifted to pretty much every citation site out there because they all reference Google.
Mhm.
So that Google review that you just left is now being seen on Yelp and Bing and everywhere else because usually they're
Mhm.
trying to aggregate. On
And it's
top
pulled
of
into AI results nowadays too.
exactly. And even then, I've noticed in some AI results that they're pulling reviews from Bing. So like if someone gives you a bad review on Bing, Google won't necessarily reflect that as well, but
Mhm.
AI will pull that Bing review. So
Yeah.
you need to pay attention to not just Google now. If you're getting bad reviews on other sites and someone's review bombing you, as long as those sites have some type of authority, it's worth noting because there's a whole black hat play of create a website and then just spam a bunch of negative articles about someone and try to get featured in AI. You do
Mhm.
still need to have those authority signals. Getting ranked in AI is not something that people have figured out. But I'm
Yeah.
waiting for that black hat case of someone figuring out how to rank an AI and having AI create a site to rank an AI that, crap talks Apple and, misplaces them in the AI
Right.
results when they search Apple because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe not Apple, but
Someone will get it.
yeah. Anyways, so these reviews are important. And when you leave a review, you have to be willing to engage. If you're going to leave a 1 star review and you're going to walk away and never do anything again, I ethically, that kind of sucks. Like,
Yeah. You're not
especially
being
for
a
small
great person.
businesses, you're not being a good person.
Complain to your AI companion. Leave the businesses alone. Like, don't do your complaining, is what I'm saying. Like, if you
Mhm.
have a bad experience, you're welcome to have a bad experience. But like when it comes time to put pen to paper, like try to get rational. I just feel like anytime this is just my advice to anyone who ever posts anything on the internet. When it comes time to actually put it on Twitter or Facebook, get through your emotions on your own. Don't just rant and ramble. Like, it never looks good. It's never gonna make you look like a better person. There's no reason for you to publish this stuff. I guess I don't know. It
Well, no, no, no.
bothers me.
This is really good because I kind of want to dive into this mainly because I know that you have kids. Your kids, one, do they have any like tech literacy classes or anything that they're put through for like this is how you should act online, this is how you interact online? Is it taught to them like through school or anything like that that this stuff is permanent and forever? Is it kind of imposed on them? And on a personal level too, do you as parents kind of impose on them, hey, the stuff you post online is like this is how you should interact, this is like almost online etiquette? Do you do something like that?
I would say it's I we never sat down and said, "Here's a class on it."
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
when it comes up, we definitely talk about it. But that's how we approach most things. If something comes up, we normally take a moment to be like, "Okay, let's sit with this and let's have like a 2-minute just round out," and just really get into the nuance of it, understand the
yeah.
intention, why are people doing this, whatever it is. Um I do know that I've heard some of that stuff. They did one of these things in the schools in Grand Haven area public schools where they had like a supplementary little special thing, which was like a kind of like that, like a tech literacy, like dangers and how to avoid them. And they were particularly looking at like predatory Roblox stuff, like that
Yeah,
world. They didn't get too much on like how to be a decent communicator on social media. And you know what? They won't. They're not going to do that because it's two reasons. One is that I don't think the authorities of the, world and the people who make all the decisions and pull the strings, I don't think they want people to leave their emotions on the table. They do want emotions
yeah,
because emotions fuel the usage. And we've seen that a million times. Like highly volatile emotional content is always put at the top of news feeds because it gets more reactions and more engagement and more time on app, which is all
yeah,
they're really concerned with. It's one of those things you learn at the dinner table, right? Like, just the same way you would talk to anyone, now how do you talk to someone online? And something that I think people don't realize is what you say online it's part of the real world. Like, online is not all a fantasy that you just dip into like a wardrobe. Like, it's a real place, it's the same people you see all the time, just, instead of calling them, they're reading about it, it's just a different way to consume it. You're not magically invincible behind your screen.
yeah. And it's worth noting. I know people on both sides of the aisle that have lost jobs, lost careers for what they've posted online
Mhm.
politically and otherwise. Uh, I don't know that I'm over here like that's a great place to be in. I also don't know if I'm over here wanting the government and people to try to educate kids on etiquette and how to act online. But
Yeah.
also, I do think that it should be in our schools to teach logic and reasoning and understanding. And I think those general like principles
Mhm.
are easily conveyed into how you interact online.
Yeah.
Mainly, like you're expressing the idea, hey, online and in person, they're not very far removed. And I think if you're raising kids with a respectful like online presence or a respectful in-person presence, that
Mhm.
online presence is not very difficult to follow. I think
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for it to degrade though. I think it's a lot easier for people to lose their morality online than it is for them to lose it in person.
Yeah. Well, and you're sitting in an echo chamber of
Mhm.
emotion. So people like, whatever that emotion is. And I mean, there's so much hate mongering everywhere. It's all just like fueling, fueling, fueling. So when
Mhm.
it comes down time to leave your review or whatever, I mean, you just got through reading whatever the political mumbo jumbo of the day was. You're all
Yeah.
hot and bothered. It's like you need to take it out. What you need to do is go for a run or something like that to actually process your
Yes.
cortisol, which is a whole whole 'nother thing that I mean, they don't tell you about cortisol in schools, do they? They don't
Cortisol
talk
or
to you about.
stress or how to
Yeah,
manage your emotions in any type of
handle and the
reasonable way.
fact and the fact that, like, we've been talking about this a lot because 'cause we've had angry things in our life lately that have made us upset.
Mhm.
Nothing too crazy, but, like, our littlest problems are our biggest problems, right?
Yeah.
And, we're looking at, like, how do you deal with this? Like, you get angry. It's like, well, like, if I go for a run or I go to the gym, I'm gonna feel completely better by the end because it is just a chemical that's just in your body. Just get it out. That's all you gotta do. And
Yeah.
you're not gonna get it out sitting on the couch scrolling.
No, and
That is
it's
not enough. This is not enough of a physical release.
well, and
Doing your
it's
thumb
not
doesn't
even
do it.
necessarily we talk about this on the pod a couple of different times, and I've talked about it personally quite a bit. Uh, the energy is going to change when you change your atmosphere. So if you're feeling bad and you're sitting there like feeling negative in your car because you just went through the drive-through and you're just sitting there in your car like parked in a parking lot feeling bad, you're just going to sit there and ruminate. You need to get out of
Yeah,
your car, you need to go drive somewhere and get out of that energy. If you're sitting at home, you just had a big fight with people and you're just sitting in that energy, you got to move. I think a
yeah,
combo of go get that
process
physical
it.
cortisol, like go get out of that area, but also get out of that space and change your environment. And
Yeah.
being able to kind of change up that environment, I think is huge.
Ollie said in the comments, "I'm angry and stressed right now." So, Ollie, here's what you do. Quit watching us, unless you
To
can do
be
it on your
fair,
phone. Um, but, like, no, seriously, and my things that I've done to manage it are and I, like, preach about the cold showers. The cold showers are
mhm,
incredible. Do the cold showers. Cold shower every morning. and, how much scrolling until I break a sweat and release the stress hormone. You have a lot more. It's not the amount of scrolling, it's the aggression with which you scroll. So you need to
Yeah.
be aggressively power scrolling, and that might do it. But I would suggest genuinely, if you're feeling stressed and angry, just find some physical activity that feels good to you, and it
Yeah.
will absolutely make you feel better.
And it's worth noting any physical activity is better than none. If you don't want to go for a run, get up and stretch. Find some
Yeah.
stretches that you can do. For me personally, I'm huge on numbers, routine, like having a set way of doing it because that's just how I am as a person. So I have a stretch routine of I'm going to do 30 seconds of this, 30 seconds of this, 30 seconds of this, 30 seconds of
Mhm.
this, and that's going to be my 2 minutes of calm down. And so I have a like if I'm going to stretch out, I'm going to stretch out for 2 minutes. I know how long it's going to be. I know what I'm going to do, and I know that at the end of it I'm going to feel a little bit differently. So even if it's just stretching for 2 minutes, it doesn't need to be a 30-minute run. I mean, I think a 30-minute run would probably shift your mindset a little bit more than a 2-minute stretch, but it's something, and something's
I
better than nothing.
and it especially for us with, like, white collar sit at a desk jobs, this is I had a mentor tell me some stuff about this, but he was like, "Your job doesn't have the physical release baked into it." So, like,
Mhm.
when I was working blue collar and I was hauling food all around Detroit, I mean, I had so many reasons to be angry. I had people calling me terrible names. I had, dishwashers and guys in back of restaurants treat me like crap. I'd have, throw a thing of potatoes up on my shoulder and a rotted potato pops on my shoulder. That's an
Ugh.
awful day. But I came home and I was just happy to get home and, wash off, and like it was done. It was behind me. But in this job, you don't have that natural release. Like a potato pops on your shoulder, you throw the bag and you haul it and you're a little angry and you move things a little more angrily and it feels good and you get it out. We have nothing like that. So you have to supplement. And just as humans, you got to move.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I do want to call out, and I think this is funny, and I don't know all the science on this, but I know sitting here at our computers, we are burning calories. Like we're sitting here using our brains, and we're whatever. It's just not
Mhm.
the same. It really, really
Yeah.
is not the same as getting out there and like using your muscles. You are burning your calories. You are like using your brain like we are helps, but there's more to it. When people say touch grass, it's not just a joke. Touching grass legitimately helps your mentality. I remember
Mhm.
when
Electromagnetic
was it? One of the
whatevers and all
first
that.
times we went camping together, you took off your shoes or something right away, and you're like, "Oh, the grass and dirt on my feet, I feel
Yeah.
amazing." I was like, "Oh,
I get as naked as I legally can for wherever I'm at, and I just roll in dirt. In it really does. It's like and this whole summer we camped our butts off, and it was like just fresh air and dirt and sand and grit. Like give it all to me. I love it.
air, dirt, and nature." Well, and it's different for everyone. I'm not good at being dirty. So
Mhm.
when we did a couple different camping trips, a couple different like hiking trips. Day one, great. Day two is always the worst because it's like you can feel the grime. And then day three, you're just grimy and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
anymore because you're used to it and it feels amazing. My favorite memory of this whole past summer was waking up on a Sunday morning after camping for since like Thursday or something like that. I went and like laid in the hammock and I read on my Kindle from like
Mhm.
6 in the morning because that's when the sun came up at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning for like hours. Just as nature woke up around you, squirrels
Mhm.
chittering and like the birds wake up. Dude, have you ever just sat and listened to the birds wake up? Ooh.
Mhm. When there's and it's like that's when you know it's actually morning because it's like we would always whenever we camp, one of us is up at like 3 a.m. to
Mhm.
like pee or something, and I always check because it's always that feeling of like waking up and like, oh God, I hope I can sleep more. And then
Yep.
it's like 3 and I'm like, bet I get like a good couple more hours. And then the
Yeah.
birds go. And then you get to make that choice. Like, do I wake up with the birds or do I wait until they calm down? Because they're being real loud right now. And I don't know
Yeah.
if I need all that. And then I'll make coffee at like 9.
Well, and you have no rush. There are no calls for your time. And I think
Hmm.
that's one of the difficulties that I struggle with is And I think that's pretty universal. Like, let's be real. Decision paralysis is bad for everyone out there. It's
Mhm.
really difficult to decide what to do with your time because spending your time optimally, replace your scrolling with micro learning, all of those
Oh,
types
I
of
hate
things
that.
where it's hey, when you have any downtime, make sure you're using your downtime in the best way possible. So even
Mhm.
when you're relaxing, you can't relax. So instead
Yeah.
of making any decisions, you open TikTok, which makes all the decisions for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the real issue is the decision paralysis that comes with all of this.
Yeah. But
Which
it's
go ahead.
if I open TikTok and it starts with, "I'm curious how a" I'm like, I'm in, you just got me for 5 minutes. I'm gonna learn how a solar panel works because it's being sung to me by a computer, and that's what I needed all along, and I didn't realize it. All these
I will
kids are gonna know
say,
so much because of the freaking singing AI education bots.
did you when it was coming around, and I'm sorry, we're gonna get back to reviews, I promise, but did you, when it was coming around, get any of the videos about how to pilot an F-150 or any of the
Yes.
Apache
Yeah.
helicopters and stuff like
In
that?
detail,
In
and then they're
extreme and
like,
utter
"You
detail.
flip the combine thruster," and then
Yeah, you press the button, it'll be on the left-hand side of your cockpit in the lower quarter, and you're like,
it's
"What in
very
the world?"
difficult. It's because you use I was like, "Okay, 80% of those buttons are there just to make it look complicated so that people are less likely to hijack a plane." That's not correct. All those buttons get used, and that's crazy to me. I'm like, "Well, I cannot believe how much, uh, user interface management there is to operating a freaking fighter jet, especially the fighter jets." It's crazy. You gotta have, like, 3 gauges all in balance before you can fire off your, your ultimate.
Yeah, well, and it's in a way, I can understand it, but also in a way, dude, I've heard so much about how ATC and being a pilot, how stressful those jobs are,
Yeah.
and
They need to touch grass, and they're so far from it.
yeah, exactly. They're never touching grass, and they're also literally never home. Like,
Yeah.
that's the worst.
That's some cortisol.
Gosh. But with that being said, bringing it back to reviews in general, when you're a small business, when you're getting reviewed and you're dealing with like reputation management and how you're perceived, I think it's really important. Like, hey, vibes, energy, the vibe and energy of your small business is really important. I'm really trying to tie this in. It's a
Ye
difficult tie in.
I'm I'll throw a st I'm just gonna throw a whole new
Let's do it.
story in because it's contextual to getting you back.
Okay, okay.
So, um I like when we take the idea of a review and we sort of abstract it into like there's kind of a couple different things. On one hand, you have like collect as many reviews as you can because it's just numbers and it's good and it gets things up and it's going
Mhm,
to help your placement. Like reviews are like a footprint of your actual business you've done. It's like a record, a
mhm.
verifiable record. So like I'll give you an example and I know exactly how you'll answer this. If you see two things that are almost the same on Amazon and one has 20 reviews and it's a 5 star and the other has 1,000 reviews and it's a 4.5, which one are you going to get?
1,000 reviews.
100% because it's quantitative at that point. And it's like we just have if out of 1,000 people, most of them like it is way better than some people who always like it. In fact,
Well,
I tell people don't even hunt for a 5.0. You don't even want a 5.0. 5.0 looks disingenuous. People want to see that you've let people down at least once or twice just to make you look human, you know? So like 4.8 is where you want to be.
yeah. Do you think that translates to Google as well? Because I will say on Amazon specifically, when I see something with 20 reviews and they're all 5 star, I assume that those 20 reviews are fake or a
Yeah, same.
majority of them are fake.
And they are.
I do not believe a 5 star review until you've gotten like hundreds or thousands. And at
Yeah.
that point, if you're 5 star with over 1,000 reviews, like that's kind of crazy, and you're probably a crazy product, or you're like Sharpie, or like one of the big name brands that's
Just a
selling a
universal
base. You're
thing.
like your sticky note, and you're
Yeah.
selling sticky notes. Like, yeah, sure,
Can't
you got a
mess up.
5 star review with 100,000 reviews because you're selling sticky notes, and you're
Well,
the
and
company.
Amazon hit you up a month later and said, "How were your sticky notes?" And you were like, "I
Yeah.
can't complain. They're 5
Literally, they
stars."
they were sticky notes from the sticky note company.
They stuck and they contain notes. Perfect.
Well, quite exactly. And so when I see that on Amazon, I have a much different thought process than when I'm looking for example, hey, game store near me. or
Mhm.
restaurants near me. Where if I see Google restaurant near me and I see 39 reviews with a 4.9 out of 5 versus 120 reviews with a 4.3 out of 5. I'm going to go to the 39 with a 4.9 if it's a local
Yeah.
restaurant,
Yeah.
and that
I
would
suppose I
change
agree
up
with
for
that
me.
too.
Now, if
That
you give that a
it is
4.
contextual.
Yeah, it is very contextual. Now, that's different for Google. Do you think that's true for Google and Amazon? What about other
Yeah.
review sites?
What about what?
What about other review sites? I'm trying to think of other, like,
Well, now let me give you an example of this,
yeah.
because this one is one of my coolest experiences I've ever had in work.
Hell yeah.
I, so I had one of the first iterations of Vastcore was another company with another name that I honestly don't even really remember. But I was trying to work with, like, this is when Steam indie games were real popular for all my gamers. If you
Mhm.
had back when like Steam Greenlight and the indie games were trying to get approval and Steam first opened the doors to independent publishers and stuff. So that world had just sort of opened up, and I really wanted to work with it. So I was soliciting these people and being like, "Hey, I do marketing, do websites. I'd love to help you guys with this." And I had a couple really awesome experiences in this world. Like it was so fun. So, anyways, um, how do you advertise? I was befuddled to determine this because it's also DIY in that space. So what I did was I went to Google and I looked up articles on marketing indie games. And I found a bunch of these articles where these guys had posted like the compendium of how to do it. And they were like, you got to make sure your social media looks good. Well, you know, what it had marketing stuff in it. We don't need to get into what was actually in it because
I
that's
was
not
going to
really the
say the
point.
checklist of marketing for sure.
Yeah, checklist of marketing for people who didn't know what it was. So at the very bottom, they had discus comments. So what I did was I went on as a fake game studio and I pitched myself and I said, I worked with these guys and they were the best thing since sliced bread. We're doing really good. And I got all of my leads from this method, not one or two, not even 90%, 100% of the leads I got came from that comment. And I did this on when I found out it worked that well.
Mhm.
I just Googled, and this is a little trick for those who are looking for it. I Googled game marketing discus, disqus, and it pulled up any article that was about game marketing that had discus comments, and I would just go down and post it, and I had anywhere between 10 and 20 like this going at any time. And every person who contacted me was like, hey, I heard about you through someone who said they had a good experience. And I stopped doing any social media promotion because it was, in my case, pointless. I mean, no one was looking for that content. The algorithms were nowhere near as advanced as they are now. We were talking about this like Twitter. Twitter
Yeah.
was like what was available, like Facebook pages. And there just really wasn't a good place to advertise this. Reddit, kind of. I did a couple things on Reddit similarly to that too. Um, but when you can get this is why the big thing everyone focuses on nowadays is testimonials, because like testimonials are like reviews plus. It's
Mhm.
like this isn't just going there. This is now giving us this piece of like media that we can promote where we have this handshake agreement that says this person liked us so much they're letting us use their likeness, you know. Um so they all have different roles, though. A testimonial on your website is like, okay, is it even real? You have no way to know that.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I think nowadays testimonials, the you're not wrong. You want testimonials. The testimonials you want are them posted to their own socials, and they want to be video. You want
Yeah.
a short form video written about your business. And that's where, like, one of, I think, our best ideas comes in. So, Good Red Media, we're a small business marketing agency. We help small businesses. We help them with Google. We help them get ranked. We do all of that fun marketing stuff that these small businesses struggle with. We are also working on creating a review site, kind of like a directory of different businesses in down in Florida in one of the cities that we work with because
Mhm.
the owners down there. And so we're creating this kind of directory review site where we can go in and basically, hey, if you want to review these restaurants, go review them. But also, we want to create a team of people to go out and like check out these places and give testimonialized video reviews
Mhm.
because it's kind of fun and it's kind of interesting. And we want to build up this kind of network community down in Florida. So, as part of that, the testimonial videos that we're creating are basically like we're going out to a restaurant, ordering food, filming the whole experience, and then being able to upload it. It's influencing, it's content, but that's what you want as a business. If you're a small
Yeah,
business, if you're a restaurant, that's what you want. You want someone to come in, post on their own channel, on their own socials, something about you. And I think
yeah,
that's the best testimonial you can get, because if I post a testimonial, I can take your image from anywhere and put it on my website and say that you said whatever.
yeah.
Uh, testimonials are huge.
You just AI generate a person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not uncommon, it's not unrealistic, and it's not unreasonable. There's just
Mhm.
people are trying to you have so many people who have new ideas and new businesses and new things they're trying to do, and they're trying to compete, and, they're going to emulate success until they are successful, and then eventually they'll swap out those testimonials with real ones,
Yeah.
hopefully, maybe, or they're just gonna scam you. It's
Yeah,
one or the
and
other.
I mean, hopefully the testimonials are real. Hopefully they do get real testimonials. But like I said, I think if you're going to be getting those, which is why I'm curious, I know you can upload videos for Google reviews, and this is one of the things to get into on reviews in general. How do you leave a good review? Like, if you're gonna leave a review for a business, what do you do in a review?
I honestly think you Safia Nagrand it, and you give a little, "Come with me as we go to Grand Rapids' finest gastro bistro." I mean, you do that, though. You
Hmm.
say, "Here" the good reviews that I like are the ones that say, "Here was my experience with the ambiance and the staff and the food and, parking was a bitch, but it was worth it." Like, give me some real stuff that I actually logistics. Like, what can I expect? I think a lot of
Yes.
when people look at reviews, it's not always was it good or bad. Sometimes it's just what's it like? I mean, like, great example, massage. Because I know you guys have a massage client who
Hmm.
also has a wide range of modalities. Tell me what's the difference between a Swedish massage and, a sports injury massage or this or whatever, I mean, there's so much people don't know this stuff, and I think a lot of businesses assume that people just know what something is, and you need to communicate that. You need to communicate, like, what's the process gonna be? What's the experience? Like, going to a restaurant like a hot pot place or, Mongolian barbecue or one of these places where it's not a waiter coming and just serving you the traditional way.
Yeah.
If you can get someone ready for that before they go in, like, that's gonna be the best video for a Mongo place is gonna be, "Hey, this is me going to the Mongolian barbecue, and here's how it works. I get my plate, I get my stuff." Like, show people that and show them
Mhm.
how cool it is and how fun it is. That like, if they don't know that that's the experience, then they're gonna think it's just some weird thing. But if you show them in a cool way, like, what to expect and what's gonna how it all pans out, then that's
Yeah.
ideal.
I will say flat out, for my own personal benefit, if I'm going to go to a place, if I'm gonna check out a location, the more information, like you mentioned logistics, I want to know parking. I want to
Yeah.
know when you went in, was it really loud, or was it you were able to hold a conversation? Were you like, what is the vibe? What is the energy? What are you doing while you're here? Is this a nightclub? Is this a day club? There's a place here in Grand Rapids that opened somewhat recently, and they're like a ramen bar. It's not
Mhm.
like a you go in and they make nice ramen. It's you get pre-made like instant ramen, and then they
Mhm.
have a bunch of toppings that you can pick from, and then you like get that made up, and they also have like corn dog and mochi donuts, and they have like a bunch of really weird stuff, but their setup makes no sense. The food is amazing. I want you to know, and I need this to be known to everyone out there. The place is called Mochi Nut in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm calling them out because they have the best hot or corn dogs I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
By far the best corn dogs I have ever had in my life. And their mochi donuts are also amazing. But you go in there and I don't know how it works. The
Yeah.
checkout is not clear. They don't have like a walk up. There's no signs. There's no nothing. There's nothing on the ground telling me where the line is. It's all a little bit messy and chaotic in there, but they're
Mhm.
still open and they're doing well because they have really good food. Now,
Yeah.
when you're describing this situation, you know what would sell me on going and visiting this place?
Mm.
a video of, hey, you come in and this is what you see. Over here is where we have our ramen station. When you go to the ramen station, you grab ramen and then you can choose from any of our 25 different toppings that go in your ramen, all of which are available for 49 cents each. Blah, 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 blah. Like, give the logistics of how I'm going to go in and order this food at a place that is a little bit different than anything I've experienced. Like, this isn't McDonald's. I don't know how to do this.
Right. Now, devil's advocate. That also could arguably kill, I'm just being devil's advocate
Yeah,
just
yeah,
to
yeah.
do it,
No.
but I think there's something to be said for it. That can kinda kill the insiders only charm of it. It's like, oh, I mean, it's like you ever watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri?
Ooh,
He
it's
would
been a
go to
while, but
he would go to all the,
yeah.
like, dive bar restaurants, and they're all the places like that. They don't have structure because 'cause they're not designed to franchise. There's, like, one
Mhm.
lady in the back who knows how to cook everything, and if she dies, the whole place is screwed,
Yeah,
and there's nothing's documented, there's no rules, but you go in and you're like, "Yo, give me a number 2 extra grease," and they bring out this, hot dog with double ketchup or whatever. They have these little code names and stuff that no one knows other than the, slightly insane chef who's prepping the food.
yeah.
So, like, there's a beauty to that, like, there's
Well,
a
and
charm to it too.
yes, there can be a beauty, there can be a charm if that's the vibe that you're generally going for. It's worth noting, so this mochi nut place is like a new age, all of their people are Gen Z. Everyone who is coming in is like, younger generation, and I can tell that they've tried to have a online media presence because they have had like local Grand Rapids people come in, like, make videos, but they've
Mhm.
not done a video like you have described about how to, like, go in and use it. But
Yeah.
I do agree on that, like, edge, and I maybe it's specific to a lot of dive bars because I feel like that's is 100% the vibe in almost every dive bar I've ever been into, where it's
Yeah.
like,
It's like, where do you even order food?
yeah,
There's food. I see the grill. How do I order that food so I can eat
Yeah,
it?
there's no server. You go up to the bartender and they're not taking your order. It's actually you need to order from the owner of the restaurant who's just sitting
Yeah.
at their spot in their table, which has a plaque for them.
Yeah.
And this is not even
That's too
kidding.
real,
So
actually.
legitimately. So, fun fact, there's a place in Grand Rapids called Marge's Donuts. It's one of
Mhm.
those famous places in Grand Rapids. Marge is pretty well known. She's been around Grand Rapids forever. She will sit in her donut shop in front of like a big mural of herself painted on the back wall of her when she was younger. And she will sit there all weekend and just like entertain guests and like friends and whatever. And they'll come and
Yeah.
like drink coffee at her coffee and donut shop, and she'll just sit
Yeah.
there all day.
In
And so
front of
when
your
you
own
go,
mural is hard. That's hard.
well, you have to respect it. But
Yes.
again, like, this is like a you go in and I'm just a customer. Like, I go in and I can get donuts. But like, if you go in and Marge, like, you just go in and walk behind there and you grab donuts and then you go pour yourself coffee and you go sit next to Marge, and that's what they do. And it's the difference in that type of atmosphere. And
Yeah.
I do get that. I can play devil's advocate that way. I'm here for the quirky. Although I don't want double grease. I don't want a number 2
No, I
double
wouldn't
grease.
want double grease either. I
I
don't
can't
think I
handle
could
it.
even walk into that place without getting indigestion. I need a place with structure and rules because they're gonna be more gluten friendly. Those places
they're,
have
they're
vegan
they're not
options,
going to cross
and they're
contaminate.
labeled.
Oh my
"Oh,
goodness.
you're a vegan? Yeah, get a salad."
Well, hey. So I did have a couple of specific stories that I wanted to share
Mhm.
about reviews because I think these are some scenarios that might pop up for small businesses, and I just want to make sure that I get a chance to touch on these.
Yeah.
So, you know how we have a lawn care company, right?
Yeah.
We uh we had an issue where we had that one employee skip a job and we had to let them go. This is a follow up to that. The next day, we had two one-star reviews talking about how awful the lady who ran the company was and how the owner sucks.
Mhm.
Um,
The day after the person was let go?
yeah, day after the person was
Fascinating.
let go, and it's worth noting to anyone out there who thinks like this, and to anyone out there who doesn't have the tech literacy that we were talking about.
Mhm.
If you're leaving reviews and you're using a Gmail, you can be tracked down.
Mhm.
I absolutely promise you that if you're leaving Google reviews on random businesses, your name's associated and I can find you. I literally, I type into ChatGPT, I'll send them a screenshot of you, and ChatGPT will give me your home address. That's how things work these days. So just know that
Mhm.
before you go and do these scary things, because what we found out is those two people were directly connected to an employee that we let go,
Mhm.
direct family, and they were not a part of our system. And so it's also worth noting if you do that, it's illegal and you can be
Yeah.
sued. Like it is I don't know if it's libel. I don't want to get into it. I'm not a lawyer. I don't
It's
offer
one of
legal
those.
advice.
It's
But
defaming.
yeah, it's not good and you can be sued. So we had that whole system come up. We got those removed. It did not take very much, but we did have to write a letter. Having lawyers on staff will do that for you. But don't do that. And if you're a business and you're getting review bombed and you can track those things down, don't be afraid to reach out and let them know, like, hey, this is not a great situation, or reach out to a lawyer and figure out what you can actually do. That's the proper advice.
Yeah.
Um,
Or
and yeah, dude.
alternatively,
Yeah.
take it into your own hands and wind up on that subreddit with all the crazy Yelp people, because that also you can go down in a blaze of glory also. I'm
There's
just
also
saying.
Blaze of Glory. There is always Burn It All Down. Like,
There's always
let's be
burn it all
real,
down.
there is always that option. But yeah, dude, that was absolutely crazy. And I will say, the business owner was not happy.
Yeah.
Uh, he was actually livid, and I think that's pretty universal
Yeah.
for businesses in that position. Did you ever experience any type of review bombing or anything like that?
I did. Um, I had a guy, well, I don't know. It overlaps
Okay.
because I think at this point we're talking about frustration and how to deal with it. So
Yeah.
like especially in these business service sort of jobs like we're talking about, where it's like marketing and development, software, techie stuff, all that. It's really easy to get frustrated because a lot of times you can have communication and understanding gaps. If you come to me and say build a website, that is not enough information for me to build a website. I need to know a lot of other things. And you have to be literate enough in this area, and I'll help you through it. But you need to be there with me to understand what we're actually doing. And I'll explain it as layman's as I can. And I can normally do a really good job of that. But some people just really struggle with these things. And you get to a point where you deliver. Here's my example. Two websites for a guy. They were $300 a piece. It was way back when I was doing freelance stuff on the cheap, just paying bills, early
Yep.
20s stuff, and built them, sent them. Pretty cool guy. Everything was good. I knew it was cheap. He knew it was cheap. It was all very, we were all very conscious of it. Like, okay, it's a tight budget, so it's gonna be simple, clean. He was into it. Sent it over. He's like, this is nowhere near good enough. And I'm like, okay, I can improve it, but it will cost you more money because you're talking about more work.
Mhm.
And he left me like, "I'm gonna hunt you down" voicemails. Like,
Oh,
he was like, "I'm going to come to your home and cause harm to you." And I was like, "Oh, you're not well." So, that ended in police reports and stuff like that, and,
oh,
for what it's worth, I did just refund him because I don't play with that. That is
yeah,
actually a pretty clear way for me to just send you back your money. If you start threatening my family and stuff, I really don't wanna have trouble, but I'm absolutely gonna make sure there's a record of you being a sociopath. Um, so it's a little bit different. But it's a little bit
yeah,
parallel too, because it's like, what was the right thing to do? The right thing is not call people and threaten people, and the right thing is not weaponizing reviews. The right thing is never going to be just attacking people more. If you're trying to
yeah,
right a wrong, let's work together as freaking adults and work through the problems.
yeah. Well, and I think it's bringing it full circle back to where we were talking about. You need to be willing to have a conversation. If you're going to leave a bad review, you need to be willing to have someone reach out to you about that review and engage.
Yeah.
If you're gonna leave a bad review and you're just going to be pissed off and angry and you're gonna threaten someone's family, probably don't do that. It's not worth it. It's not going to be helpful. It's not going to provide benefit. If you had an awful experience at a place and you want to make sure that others avoid it, leave that negative review 100%.
Yeah.
But when someone reaches out and they're like, hey, we're sorry about that negative experience, what can we do to make it right? Let them know. and
Yeah.
have them make it right. And if they don't make it right, leave that review. Like that's
Yeah.
100% fair and based. Like it's being willing to have that communication surrounding it, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and there will be, I mean, plenty of people don't reach out to people who leave negative reviews. They don't think it matters. They don't care. And it's just a whole fiasco.
Yeah.
But
And you can, I think as a business, you should also think about routing feedback. Like what is available? If I go and do your thing, buy your thing, do your stuff, where is the implied feedback reception channel? If I go to a restaurant or something and they have a thing that says review us on Google right on the door or on the menu or something, um, I'll do it, because you're presenting it to me in the right time, or a follow-up email or a follow-up text. Like, I never have an issue with someone saying, "Hey, if you had a good experience or we see that you gave a 5-star rating, would you leave a review?" I think that's great. Um, I worked with a business who actually built a system that did this, which is really cool. They had this reward system that they built, and they would kind of lease out to like utility companies. And the thing that we kind of built was this little pop-up that said, "How has your experience been?" And if it was 3 stars or less, they would get routed to a feedback form, and it would be like, "We're so sorry that you're having a subpar experience. We'd love to help you." And they put you in touch with a rep who could actually talk to you, get you on the phone or something, and then you
mhm,
could work through your complaints. If it was a 4 or 5 stars, they would say, "Thank you so much," and it would link you over to Google reviews, and it would say, Please leave a review as a Google review." So it was a very smart way of getting all that feedback at a time when you had them. They're there using the service.
mhm.
So they're, kind of ass and seat at the moment. And we're going to preliminary see which side of the spectrum you're on and then put you to work. And you're going to be productive for us either way, or you'll close it and then that's fine too. But I think it is your responsibility as the business to also give them a spot to praise you and give them a spot to vent, because if you don't do that, they don't know what to do. And then they're just frustrated. And especially, I mean, you think about the situations you're talking about. If I go to this restaurant that's all atypical and kind of weird, who do I talk to?
Mhm.
Who is there some can I ask for the manager? No one asks for the manager. That's been killed. Ladies with Bob's killed asking for the manager. No one's going to do it ever again. Managers, great job. You're safe forever, but what do you do when you genuinely need that, you know?
Yeah, and I do think if you're in that situation where you're like, "Hey, I need guidance," you need to have people who know what's going on, and that's an issue when you're talking about being small service-based businesses and you're like hiring someone to manage it for you and you're not actually providing the service yourself. So like in this example of the mochi nut or whatever, it's your employees are there. You need to have your employees ready and willing to run people through how everything works, talk them through
Mhm.
it, and that needs to be part of the job description is being pleasant with new people, as opposed to part of your $300 websites was not being pleasant to interact with and interacting with customers. It was I'm paying you $300 to put a website together, and bedside manner wasn't part of that.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
Well, and people who pay less money tend to treat people what they're paying, you know?
yeah,
"You
a
didn't
little
treat me
bit.
like a $3,000 website, treat me like a couple $100 guy you met offline," you know?
Yeah, and it's I mean, there's a whole idea there where like if you charge more so that you get treated better because if people are going to pay, they're going to care. And
Mhm.
it's an interesting like philosophical point where I can't remember who said it, but they were talking about how when you don't charge enough, people don't care enough. If
Yeah.
you're offering something for free, people are going to stand you up. If someone pays $20 to meet with you, they're going to show up because they've already paid $20. They don't want to lose
Yeah.
that $20. And actually, really funny like correlation to that. This past weekend, I'd prepaid for an event. It was like $40 on Sunday
Mhm.
to go do an event at a show. And I didn't end up wanting to go. I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling really tired. I'd rather be home." My partner was supposed to work. She ended up being home that day instead. Got called off, so I was like, "Oh, let me stay back." But I already prepaid. It was already there, so I went, and it was fun. It was enjoyable, but
Mhm.
I
Get
wouldn't
you
have went if I
committed.
hadn't have already, gotten my information there. So,
Yeah. Easy to talk yourself out of something when
yeah.
you can.
And I also wanted to touch on, you mentioned a point about your plugin or your little pop-up.
Mhm.
Those type of pop-ups, good and bad. Good for marketers, good for the company, bad for general people. And I want to
Yeah.
say that because you are forcing an action on the customer. If I'm on that website, I have to take an action when I have a modal. I have to either click yes or exit out of it. I have to fill out the information or do something. You're forcing a
Mhm.
decision. And we touched on it earlier about how people these days struggle with decision paralysis and decision fatigue. It's because all of these websites and all of these marketing tactics and everything out there is forcing these
Mhm.
decisions on us. So we are constantly making these little micro decisions, like closing out of that modal when we open a new browser and it asks us to make Edge our default. All of those little
Oh,
micro
I hate that one.
decisions take away a little bit of our attention, our ability to process larger decisions.
Yeah.
And so
They're
on a
reminders.
marketing level, it's great, force that decision on them, but on a personal level, oh, I hate it.
Yeah. They're reminders that, there's I think we look at software. I don't wanna go too deep because I know we got 4 minutes, but,
Yeah.
like, we look at software as tools. Software is highly curated interaction provided to us by a corporation. Like,
Mhm.
I had one the other day where my mouse has the light up Logitech stuff, it syncs to your computer. They discontinued the software for this mouse. So, I'm sure there's a replacement software that I could get, um, but also this mouse is several years old. So, at what point did they just discontinue a tool? They can just do that. They can be like, "We're not gonna support that software anymore," and it's just kinda dead. So, it's like, the companies have an agenda they have to follow too, and,
Mhm.
I don't know, we just kinda get caught in the ether.
Yeah, and it gets into some philosophical arguments about what the goals of everything is, which maybe a little bit beyond the scope of the Good Rep Media
No.
podcast, where we talk about small business marketing. If you own a small business, if you are interested in starting a small business, if you are interested in marketing just in general. That's what we're here for. We talk about marketing concepts. We talk about some things for small businesses that you can kind of take advantage of. If you listen to this episode, you hear a lot of information about reviews, what reviews do for your business, why you need them, how you get them. And yeah, I think it's really important for people to kind of immerse themselves in these different avenues of responses and interactions with your community because they're really important. Your
Yeah.
reputation when you're a business owner is the most important thing that you could possibly have. And as we get further and further into, I don't know, history, the world, your
Mhm.
reputation is more and more and more important.
Yeah.
Um, especially with AI and stuff like that. Reputation of things is going to be crazy. Being authentic and being real and being honest is going to be valued, I think, a lot more moving forward.
It's also the easiest. Just be
Yeah,
yourself. Someone
it,
will
it
like it,
really is.
and then you don't have to pretend. Super easy way to go.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because I've talked to Joe about this a couple of times. When he, because so Joey Matterhorn, the Joe of Joey Matterhorn, and he gets super in his head about, oh, I'm Joey Matterhorn. I like that's me, and I'm a person. I'm like, Joe, if you're on camera, you're you, regardless of anything else.
Mhm.
Like, I can go and see Chris Evans in a movie, that's still Chris Evans. Like
Mhm.
he's portraying a character. I understand that, but that's still him. You can be Joey Matterhorn, but you're still Joe. Like you're
Yeah.
still a person. At the end of the day, you're still a human being. I understand that you're gonna go and eat dinner and hug your wife and sleep like the rest of us do.
Yeah.
Um, and I be authentic, be real. Everyone's
Mhm.
got flaws.
Take a cold shower.
Yeah, and take cold showers. But
At least try
awesome.
that.
Thanks so much, Eric, for joining me. I do really
Yeah, my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Being able to step in kind of last minute. Remember, thoughts and prayers for Jordan. Hopefully, he is surviving and, not completely out of it. We'll hope to have you on again sometime soon, Eric. I always really love having you on.
It's
But
always a pleasure.
if you're new here, if you've not subscribed, we'd love to earn your subscription. Get down there, like, comment, subscribe. I got to get better at those like outro things. I'm so bad at being like, get down there in the comments and battle it out. Thinking about doing a giveaway though. We'll talk about that
No,
sometime.
I will get us comments.
You're gonna get
Um,
us. No,
who
don't
looks
rage bait.
better in their glasses, Eric or Cody? Put your answer in the comments.
Boom. Oh, you
Conflict.
can't do
People
that, dude.
love
I've
conflict.
showed you these, right?
Yeah, well, mine are all scratched up. Mine are bad too.
These are from
We're on an
2017.
equal playing field.
How how old are yours?
Less than that, but still.
Ha! Yeah, that's what it feels like to win. But thanks so much, guys. We'll see you
Yep.
next week, Monday at noon on the Joey Matterhorn channel.
Thoughts and
Sorry.
squares.
Thoughts and
Exactly.
squares. Thoughts and squares, guys. Thoughts and squares.